Hello and welcome to Python for Data Analytics. So in this tutorial, we want to understand how Python dictionary can help us in data analytics. So we are going to go over the idea of using dictionaries as reference to data frames or understanding dictionaries as a tabular structure. So in this tutorial, we are focusing mainly on data analytics and the structure of dictionaries. So stay tuned, as if you have a previous idea concerning dictionary, this tutorial will be helpful for you to understand how dictionaries can be a part of data analytics. All right, let's dive in. Okay, let's go over. All right, guys, let's go over dictionary. The first thing we want to learn is what is a dictionary and why is it in Python? All right, so a dictionary is a data structure, or it is a data type that is used to store values in key value pairs. So it is used to store items in key value pairs. For example, let's say we have a car, and let's equate that to the dictionary using a curly bracket, right? So things that are inside a car, we know we have the brand, we have the date or the model that the car was produced. So dictionary gives us the ability to tie values to keys. So we can start by naming the brand of the car. So let's name this uh, brand, for example, and then we have using colons to separate the key from the value. So the first one, the brand here is the key. So let's declare the value. Which brand do we go with? I'm very familiar with Mercedes, so let's use the Mercedes. So Mercedes Benz. All right. So after declaring your key and your value, so the key here is brand and the value here is Mercedes Benz. So if, for example, we are using a list to declare these values, it will be difficult to tell what the brand is, as we only have Mercedes Benz, and only those with the knowledge of cars can understand what Mercedes Benz is. This applies to other aspects of data. For example, you have a school or a people, and that people has a name, that people has an age. Same way you want to tie the name key to the actual name of the people. So we have car. Let me do an example. So we have car. So we're gonna have a model, and then we have the actual model number. Let's use a C63S. All right. So this is for a car. You want to make sure you add a comma after each key value pair. So this is a key value pair. So dictionaries are a way to structure data in key value pairs. All right. Now we haven't gotten to the aspect where we are going to understand how it's relating to a data frame or a table. So we want to actually go further and understand why we need a dictionary and how to use a dictionary, right? So, for example, we have a pupil in a school, and we want to create a dictionary for these people to be able to store these people in a database or in your Excel workbook. These people need to have a name. These people need to have a class. These people need to have an age. And these people also need to have the subjects that they offer in school. So, if, for example, we are using a list to declare these people, If you're familiar with this will come very handy. If you're familiar with lists, this should come very handy for you. So you want to create a list and say, let's say the name of the people is Zoe, for example, and then we have their age as 16, and then we have their class as basic 3. This is all good. This is something very understandable, right? We are the one that just declared this data. But for any random user to look at our data, they won't be able to tell which one is the name, which one is the age, or which one is the class. So, but we declaring our data, we know this number here is the age. But for some random person coming to look at our data or using our data, they won't be able to know what this guy is doing here. So that is where dictionary helps us to structure our data in key value pairs, where we can be able to identify what a value is there for. So we when we get this 63S now, we do know that it is the model of the car because it is tied to the key model. So let's add a year to it. So we have a year. We have a year. Let's put a year of let's put a current year, 2025. All right. So we just successfully declared our dictionary. So the next thing we want to understand is how to view these items in our dictionary. For most people, we can just print this and that will be no issue at all. So let's print it. So let's print car, for example. You want to make sure your variable name matches what you're printing out. So let's run this. For me, I will just go over here and run my Python file. For you, you might go to your terminal and run it. All right, I have my terminal over here. So I just printed car and I'm getting the brand Mercedes, the model year, the model C63S, and the year 2025. All right, that looks good so far, but the point of dictionary is not to do this. What dictionary are meant for is to get us values depending on the key that we pass in. So let's get the value. How do we get the value for brand? Let's say we want to get just the brand for this car. We can do car and then dot get and then rounded brackets. We can get the brand dot get, and now we are getting the brand. If we should run this, we don't need to come over here. Let's just rerun this. So we are getting Mercedes Benz. So getting all this Mercedes Benz, we now understand that through this banner, we are getting the brand. All right. So if you understand this much, there is only a few things left that you need to understand concerning dictionary before we actually move to how we can structure it as a tabular manner using or in data analytics. All right. So this manner is for every other person, whereas in data analytics, there is a pattern you need to get used to and understand that can work either both ways, but for both data frames and dictionaries. Let me comment on this and let's try it out. So the one you should be familiar with the more as a data analyst is the car. Then in square brackets, you pass in the key of the value that you want. So the key, I want the brand again, or let's get the year so that we can know that something changed. So let's get the year. So you can see that our VS Code is assisting us to get the year. All right. So now that VS Code assists us to get the year, we now know that we want to get the year inside car. Notice we are using square brackets year. as well. So we are getting the year from car. If we go back to our terminal and we rerun our file, we are getting the year 2025. So you should be familiar with all of this. So what we do, we print out the key and we are getting the value. Rather, we're printing out the key and we are getting the value. So if I should print out the key model, I should be getting the value C63S. So with all that understood and all that aside, let's go further and learn how to add new values to this dictionary. All right, let's look at adding values, or let's say adding items to a dictionary. Remember that both the key and the value together are both called items. All right. So in order to add a new value to the dictionary, in order to add a new value to the dictionary or a new item to the dictionary, we need to be able to know how to print the values that we want to add. Let me explain. For example, we are able to print the year out, the year of the car. So we now know the year the car is produced. Now, what if we want to add a color per se? Let's say we want to add a color to this car. Let's add a space gray or a red color. Anything, right? What can we do? We first of all going to act as if this value is already existing in the dictionary. For example, let's say we want to print out the color car. There is no color existing. So since we want to add it, we first of all act as if we want to print out the color. Or say color equal to space gray. All right. So successfully, this will automatically add a color to our car dictionary. And down here, if I should come here and print our car out, go back and run our file, we are also getting color space gray. This is because this line here pushes this whole item, both the color and the value, into our car dictionary. Another way you can also do this is by doing car dot updates. Now, in this rounded bracket, I will add a curly bracket. Now, what I need to do is add the key and the value of what I want to update into the car. I can do, let's add something entirely different with this new method. Let's add the location where this car will be shipped from. I can add a location, then I can add the actual location. So the location here is the key, and this now is going to be the value. Hamburg. All right. So we successfully did this. Let's see if it works. So we are printing out our car down here. Don't forget that. So when we go back here and we run our file, hopefully we should be getting that new key and value pair added to our dictionary. So we have here location Hamburg. So far so good. We have been able to add new values to our dictionaries. What now happens if I just want to get I want to get a value out of this dictionary and I do not know the key of which that value is assigned to. Let's say I know it's a Mercedes Benz, but how do I get that out to the console or to our terminal or to wherever we want to use it? What I can do is car.keys If I print out car.keys, don't forget the bracket. It's going to give me all the keys that are present in the car. So our keys right here is brand, model, year, we have color, and we have location. That is all we will be getting when I print out. Let me comment on this. That is all. This is all we'll be getting when I print out car.keys. So let me rerun this file. Successfully, we are getting brand, model, year, color, and location. Successfully now, we know all the keys that are actually available in our dictionary. So now we will not be able to make any errors because we already know all the keys that are available. To get all the values available, it's also in the like manner. Just print out car.values. Car.values. When we run this, we also get car.keys and car.values. So the first one is the car.keys. You can see it's saying dict keys, and now we get dict values. These are the values. Mercedes-Benz 663 years 2025 space gray, coming from Hamburg. Hamburg is a city in Germany. So that is all. But there is more. In order to get both the keys and the values together, we get the items. We're going to print out car.items. So let's comment on both of this to get it out of the way. And let's run our key.items. So this will give us a tuple of a list of tuple. So we have brand Mercedes in a bracket. We have model 663 years. We have the year 2025. So each of these brackets represents an item. So this is a key and this is a value. You might be using a different IDE. It doesn't matter. You might be using Jupyter Notebook. It doesn't matter. You should be getting the same thing. All right. We just successfully learned how to print out all these guys out. So if you're getting lost that you don't know your keys and you want to get your keys out, this is the manner you use. You want to get all your values out, this is the manner you use. If you want to know all the available items in the dictionary, this is the manner that you will use. So far, so good. We have learned how to access values and add values into our dictionary. So, in the next phase, what we want to learn is how to remove values from our dictionaries. All right, let's start removing values from our or from a dictionary. All right, this should be very easy to go through. The first one, as our autocomplete was already giving us, is car.pop. In car.pop, I have to pass in a key. And if I pass in the key brand, for example, it will take out both the brand and both Mercedes Benz. All right. So popping out a key, say year, for example, it will pop out, it will remove both the key and value from the dictionary. So let's try this out. After popping it, we have to print out the car to make sure we are able to see what actually changed in this file. So I will rerun my file. Now, this is my new data and successfully the year is no longer available. So the next one is car.pop item, and that one we do not need to pass anything to the bracket. So I will comment on this. So now do car.pop item. Make sure you add your bracket. And what this does, it removes the last added item in the dictionary. So it will take out the last thing in the dictionary. So let's run our file and let's see. Successfully location Hamburg was before, and now we can't find it in our new dictionary because that is the last item in the dictionary. All right. That is the two major ways we take things out from the dictionary. There is also car.clear. What this does for us, it just empties out the dictionary. All right. This will empty out the dictionary and there will be nothing left in the dictionary. So we have nothing else left in the dictionary. What we can do next is let's learn and master how we can be able to change an item in a dictionary. For example, we want to change the year from 2025 to 2026. Let's so let's learn how to change let's change items in the dictionary. Let's change the year from 2025 to 2026. So we already understand how we can access the value for year. So we can just do car, then in square brackets, we can say the year. So what we can do instead of printing this out, we can equate it to a new value. We can say equal to 2026 per se. And then after that, we can print out our car. So if I should run this, we'll be getting the year as 2026. So successfully, we've learned everything concerning a dictionary. Now, let's say we have a variety of colors in this particular brand and model. So I will get rid of this. I will add a comma. This is going to be, let's say we have, let's say we have a dictionary inside of a dictionary. This is going to be the last, and then we move over to data frames. Let's say we have a bunch of colors that are available for this car. Then we can have a dictionary of those colors. Then we'll call this, okay, I like this idea, the interior color and the exterior color. I think this is better for what I want to do. Now we have a dictionary inside of a dictionary. So in order to access, I'll get rid of this. In order to access the exterior color, how do we access? Well, how do we access the exterior color? Firstly, let's access the color. We can do car and then let's print it out so that we can see. We can do car and then in square brackets, we can get the colors. And then let's see what this will give us first of all before we move further. So when we run our file, I get both the exterior and the interior color. What if I want only the exterior color or only the interior color? What can I do? So I can go ahead and also add again another square bracket. And then in quotations, I can successfully choose which color I want. I want the interior color. So let's run this and let's see what it gives us. So we have red. So successfully, we've learned everything concerning dictionaries. So if you want to further your knowledge on dictionaries, I will be dropping a new course focusing on Python. And when that course is out, Make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications to know when I will be dropping that course. So successfully, we just created a dictionary inside a dictionary, and now we are able to access what is inside what. All right. So let's go over and create a new file, and then we'll learn how to make use of these ideas inside Pandas data frame. And also, we'll be learning how a dictionary is actually structured like a table. All right, guys. Now let's learn how we can understand how Python's dictionary correlates with Pandas data frames. The first thing we want to do is create our own dictionary and then convert it into a Pandas data frame. And then we can compare values and see how they match. What we want to do, we are going to create a little bit of a complex dictionary, but it is very simple to understand. Just follow the ideas that we have been doing, and you will also understand this process. So, first thing we want to do is import pandas because we are going to be needing it to convert our data frame into our dictionary into a data frame rather. All right, now let's create our dictionary. We're going to create a dictionary for a class. I think that is more better. So we're going to create a dictionary for a class. Let's say for basic 6 per se. We're going to have their names. Now, since we're going to be having several names, let's put this inside of a list. I'm going to go with this name that I'm getting, and I'm going to add a few as well. I want them to be up to 5. Then I can add John. All right. So add a comma at the end, and let's go over to their ages. I want the age to be very small, though it doesn't matter, but they are basic 6 students, so I think we get that. All right. So now let's add the grades. So make sure that make sure that since you have 5 values here, You also want to have five values here, and you also want to have five values here, because we are going to be using Alice to correlate with the 13 and to the 8, and Bob will be correlating with 14 and 9. All right, so let's print out our basic 6. Let's run this. All right, so we have the names, we have the ages, and we have the grades. So far so good. I think this is okay, but how is this related to a table structure or Pandas data frame? Remember, a data frame is also a table, but this is right now a Python dictionary. What you need to understand with Python dictionaries and tables is that in a table we have rows and columns, but in a dictionary we only have keys and values, where this is the key and this is the value. So how this relates with a data frame is that if I say a data frame is also same thing as a table. So if I say the names are the column names, which are the headings, while this is the value, which are the values for that column. While each Alice 13 and 8, for example, is the rows for this data. Let's see how, when we convert this into a data frame, how it looks. So we're going to do a df or data frame equal to ed dot data frame, and then in brackets we're going to pass our basic 6 dictionary. Let's run this and let's see how this works, how this looks. Let's print out our data frame df. All right, so we have our data frame out, and now we can see the names. Though we have the names as the values over here, you can see that those names values are correlating for those data inside the column. And we have ages, and you can see how those values are correlating as the rows for that column, and the grades values are correlating as the rows for that grades column. So our key per se is the name of the columns, while the values right now, they are the rows for the key column. So how do we now change each value in a data frame? The same idea that happens in dictionaries, use the same logic in your data frame. All right. Let's say we want to get Charlie, for example, in our dictionary. We can do basic 6 can be, let's print it out. Let's say we want to print out Charlie. We can do basic 6, and then in square brackets we get the names, and then when we run this, we'll be getting all the names. And to get Charlie for a list, we are using indexes. So we look for the location that Charlie is, starting from 0, 0, 1, and 2. So we're going to pass in 2 here, and then successfully we'll be running this, and then we'll be getting Charlie. So we got Charlie. What if we want to get these data frames in that same manner? We're going to apply the same logic. So we're going to get print data frame, then gonna get names, and we're going to get number two in names. So we're going to get names, and then number two is Charlie. All right. So when we rerun this, click your up arrow, hit enter, it reruns, and then we get Charlie Charlie because obviously we're getting Charlie twice here. So successfully, now you understand. I hope right now you're understanding how Python dictionaries are related to pandas data frames and how a data frame is a table. All right. So hopefully this clears all the doubt out. And this manner, you can also use it to change values. To change the values for Charlie, let's say you want to change the values for Charlie. To change the value for Charlie to something else, we can access it first of all in this manner, the same way we access it, and then equate it to something different. Say chalk, for example. So let's print it out again. Come under here and print. So let's rerun our file and let's see what we get. I'm having an error. So we are having use df.log. All right. So my error is coming. You see here we having a value is trying to be set on the copy of a slice from a data frame. So what we need to do is use the traditional data frames targeter. All right. So in a data frame, if you're trying to change something, we have to use the lock, the LOC method. So let's try that out instead. So we get our data frame. Instead of accessing it directly like this, we're going to do .lock, which is short for location. And then in square brackets, we can now go further and do that. So the first one, we access the rows. This rows will now come first. The first value is for the row, which is 2, comma, and then the column name, which is names. And then we can equate this value to chalk again. So when we run this, when we print out our data frame, let's print out our data frame. And now we are having chalk. So let's see how this works. What was here before was Charlie. What I did here was target the location for Charlie and equate it to a new value called chalk. How did this target the value? That is going to be the big question. So, like I said, this is short for location, and then it is used to target values in a data frame. Let's say you want to change it to something different. Let's say you have a wrong name. Maybe that name is not for Charlie. Maybe Charlie is not in a class and it's Chuck and it was misspelled, and you want to recorrect that. What you can do is target the names. Since the name is in row 2, you're going to target it. Since it is the name that you want, you're going to add a comma here and then add the name column. Let's say it is the ages that I want to change from 12 to, let's say, 50. I'm going to target the age column and change it to 50. And then if I rerun this, I will be getting 50 in the location of row 2. Okay, I'm having a new age, which is not supposed to be so. Let me see. I am not supposed to be getting a new column. Now it's creating a new column and assigning it to a new, it is assigning that row, and we are getting a column, a new column again. So what we can do is this. What I understand right now is that my age is not correct. That is why it's creating a new column for me. So what I can do is correct it. Let's rerun. So you want to make sure your column name is correct. So we can see that the ages has been corrected to 50. All right. So that is how you target using location in your pandas data frame. You see how you can relate it somehow into your dictionary. And now if I rerun, everything is back to normal. And now we have Chuck instead of Charlie, and our ages are correct. That is all for now. So that is all for now. That is all we'll be getting today. So hopefully you've understood how you can be able to relate your pandas dictionary knowledge to your data frames knowledge, and hopefully use that manner to also alter the data in there. And you can also do more than change values. You can loop through it and change several values as well. So see you guys in the next session. Please like, subscribe, and also comment where you have difficulties. I will get back to you. Or say you like this tutorial so well, you can also share it with your friends. See you guys in the next tutorial.